Hello everyone. In this session, let us discuss what is the role of entrepreneurship in economic development. So, what is the role in the society? What is how the entrepreneurship is going to play an important role in the economic development. So, first one here, if you see this slide, you are going to have different roles where he is going to play an important role. He is going to create the wealth, and also he is going to share the wealth among the different people. He can able to create the jobs. He is going to maintain the balanced regional development by spreading the different branches of the company, and he is going to develop the community, and also he is going to play an important role in the foreign trade, that is exports and import also, and he is going to invent new ideas. He is going, due to entrepreneurship, we can able to have the new innovative things, and also the standard of living can be raised. Okay, and he is going to directly or indirectly participate in the development of the GDP as well as per capita income of the nation. So GDP is nothing but gross domestic product. Why? Because if the per capita income is going to increase, then the automatically national income is going to rise. So when the per capita income is going to rise, whenever the unemployed people are going to employed by this entrepreneurship, then the per capita income can be raised so that the national income can be developed. Let us see one by one. So first one is wealth creation and sharing. By establishing the business entity, entrepreneurs invest their own resources and attract capital in the form of debt, equity, etc. from investors, lenders, and the public. This mobilizes public wealth and allows people to benefit from the success of entrepreneurs and growing businesses. So this kind of pooled capital that results in the wealth creation and distribution is one of the basic imperatives and goals of economic development. Goals of economic. And next one. So here by how we are going to create the wealth and share means by establishing the business or by starting a business. So the investors are going to invest their own resources, and that resources in the form, maybe in the form of debt or equity or shareholders from the lenders or from the public. So this mobilizes what public wealth and also allows the people to take the benefit from the success of the business. So like that, he's going to create the wealth as well as he's going to share the wealth by sharing the profit of the businesses who are going to invest the invest the capital in the starting of business. And next one, create jobs. Second one is creating jobs. So entrepreneurs are by nature and definition job creators as opposed to job seekers. The simple translation is that when you become an entrepreneur, there is one less job seeker in the economy, and then you provide employment for multiple other job seekers. So this kind of job creation by new and existing businesses is one of the basic goals of economic development. This is why the government of India has launched initiatives such as Startup India to promote and support new startups, and also others like the Make in India initiative to attract foreign companies and their FDI into the Indian economy. So all this in turn creates a lot of job opportunities and is helping in augmenting our standards to a global level. So the main reason is the employment is going to play an important role by creating jobs or by providing the job opportunities, so that we can able to develop the countries or nations economy. So this plays an important role. And the next one is, other than this, we are also having another third one is balanced regional development. So entrepreneurs setting up new businesses and industrial units help with regional development by locating in less developed and backward areas. So whenever, so how the regional, how the different areas are going to develop. So how the entrepreneur is going to balance the regions. So means whenever the business entities are going to expand in various regions, so that the particular region is going to develop in regarding the different areas like schools, hospitals, shopping malls, and different services like. So the growth of industries and business in a particular area leads to the regional development in various activities. So there the commercial activities can be raised. So entrepreneurs setting up new businesses and industrial units help with regional development by locating in less developed and backward areas. So the growth of industries and business in these areas leads to infrastructure improvements like better roads and rail links, airports, stable electricity and water supply, schools, hospitals, shopping malls, and other public and private services that would not otherwise be available. Every new business that locates in a less developed area will create both direct and indirect jobs, helping lift regional economies in many different ways. The combined spending by all the new employees of the new businesses and the supporting jobs in other businesses adds to the local and regional economic output. So both the central and state governments promote this kind of regional development by providing registered MSME businesses various business various various benefits and concessions. So here the developed less developed. So whenever a business entity is going to expand in various areas like underdeveloped area, then what happens in the region we can able to recruit some people so that we are going to offer some job opportunities to that particular area. When the region people are going to develop, then we can able to develop that area in various activities like developing the schools, hospitals, shopping malls, like other different public and private services can be enhanced and also set up in that locality so that the region can be developed. So in this way, the entrepreneurship is going to play important role in the development of the region. And the next one is GDP as well as per capita income. Per capita income is nothing but the income of an individual. So India's MSME sector comprised of 36 million units that provide employment for more than 80 million people. Now accounts for over 37 percentage of the country's GDP. Each new addition, each new addition to the 36 million units makes use of even more resources like land, labor, and capital to develop products and services that add to the national income, national product, and and per capita income of the country. This growth in this growth in GDP and per capita income is again one of the essential goals of the economic development. So here this case, let me, so whenever you are going to have, so by this entrepreneurship, we are going to have, we can able to raise the country's nation's GDP as well as per capita income. Why? Because whenever, how we can able to raise this? Because due to this entrepreneurship. So here in India, MSME means micro enterprises. Okay, micro, small, and medium enterprises sector. So these are based upon the capital investment made in plant and machinery, including investments in land and building. So they are going to, these sectors are going to provide the employment for more than 80 million people. Okay, that is nothing but over 37% of the country's GDP. So this creates more employment opportunities so that we are going to raise in the individual income. That is, the per capita income is going to raise so that the GDP can also be increased with the help of this entrepreneurship, which is going to play an important role in the country's economic development. The next one is standard of living. So, increase in the standard of living of people in a community is yet another key goal of the economic development. So actually, what is the standard of living? So, in suppose if you want, the standard of living in Hyderabad is highly expensive. Okay, whereas if you are going to stay in villages, it is very cheap. Cheap means that we are going to use minimum resources, minimum. So it is nothing but the degree of wealth as well as material comfort available to a person or community. For example, in the villages, if you observe here, the use of electronic goods and services are less compared to the people who are going to live in the cities and towns. So, means in cities, we are going to observe more comforts and also we are going to observe more health. Whereas in villages, we are not observing all those things. And also, see here if you how this standard of living can be measured. Yet there is generally accepted measure for standard of living, average real gross domestic product per capita. So here is going to based upon the average domestic gross domestic product per capita. So entrepreneurs again here they are going to play a key role in the increasing the standard of living in a community. They do this not just by creating jobs, but also by developing and adopting innovations that lead to improvements in the quality of life of their employees, customers, and other stakeholders in the community. For example, automation that reduces production costs and enables faster production will make a business unit more productive while also providing its customers with the same goods at lower prices. So in this way, the entrepreneurship is going to play an important role in improving the standard of living of the community people. Next one is export. It also play an important role in the exports. So export is nothing but an international trade. So when we are going to uh, so it is nothing. So exports are nothing but whenever we are going to sell our country's product to other countries, then that type of business is known as export. So import means whenever you are going to whenever you are going to buy the goods from other countries, then that type of trade is known as import. So any growing business will eventually want to get started with exports to expand their business to foreign markets. This is an important ingredient of economic development. Yes. since it provides access to bigger markets and leads to currency inflows and access to the latest cutting edge technologies and processes being used in more developed foreign markets. Another key benefit is that this expansion that leads to more stable business revenue during economic downturns in the local economy. So, international trade, which eventually causes the reason for the country's economic development. It's an important thing which plays an important role or which plays a vital role in the nation's economic development. Then the next topic is, or next point, this is the last point I think. So, yes, community development. So economic development doesn't always translate into community development. Community development requires infrastructure for education and training, healthcare, and other public services. For example, you need highly educated and skilled workers in a community to attract new businesses. There are educational institutions, technical training schools, and internship opportunities that will help build the pool of educated and skilled workers. A good example of how this kind of community development can be promoted is Azim Hashim Premji, chairman of Wipro Limited, who donated 27,514 crores for promoting education through the Azim Premji through the Azim Premji Foundation. This foundation works with more than 350,000 schools in 8 states across India. So there is a different, sorry, there is a very important role for entrepreneurs to spark economic development by starting new businesses, creating jobs, and contributing to improvements in various key goals such as GDP, exports, standard of living, skills development, and community development. Not only the exports, national countries' economic development, so it also plays an important role in the community development by offering different institutions, education institutions like technical training schools, internship opportunities like that. So in this way, it is going to develop the community regarding not only the education, it also develop the community in such a case that where it is going to develop the infrastructure of a community regarding healthcare as well as public services. And also, not only these things, can also see that it can also deal with the transportation facilities. So the basic requirements of a community can be satisfied with entrepreneurs. So with this topic is completed. This role of entrepreneurship in economic development. What is that? Wealth creation and sharing, creating jobs, then balanced regional development, community development, exports, entrepreneurship. There is okay. Then one is standard of living can be raised, GDP and per capita income. So totally 7. Once go through this slide. The next one, creating jobs, balanced regional development. MSME stands for micro scale medium enterprises. Then GDP and per capita income, standard of living, and then exports at last, community development. Once all of you go through this slide, and then go through the slide. Then the next quotes community development. And then our topic is barriers to entrepreneurship. So what are the barriers? What are the hurdles faced by the entrepreneurship? So if you see here, you are going to have some points here. Lack of viable concept, lack of market knowledge. So if the person doesn't have proper concept regarding the technology, regarding the production, or regarding the market, or whatever it may be, if he if he lacks the concept, then he is going to fail in the business. Similarly, you are also going to have different points like lack of market knowledge, lack of technical skills, lack of seed capital, lack of business know-how, and complacency, lack of motivation, social stigma, time presence and distractions, legal constraints and regulations, inhibition due to patents. So all these considered as the barriers to entrepreneurship. So here, other than this, we are also going to have some different barriers to the entrepreneurs. See here. So economic innovation and job formation is stalled throughout the world. Entrepreneurs can change all that say for professors to do so. Entrepreneurs must overcome 11 barriers. Okay. So first thing here, you're going to have that corrupt in a business. We can see some environment that is corrupt and unsupportive business environment. So due to lack of supportive and market augmenting governmental regulations serve as a barrier to entrepreneurship. Here, it leads to somewhat disturbance to the business. Second one is employee-related difficulties. Building an employee asset base for the enterprise is one of the more daunting and sometimes overlooked tasks. So entrepreneurs must find and select the best qualified employees who are motivated and willing to grow with the venture. Then they must ensure the employees do not leave that entity. Okay, and here it also next one another one is severe market entry regulations. So whenever there are certain severe market entry regulations, then he has to face some difficulty. So governmental rules, taxation, environmental regulations, lending requirements, and licensing. All these are considered the barriers to the entrepreneurship. Most countries, the United States included, prescribed or licensed market entry and the creation of new firms to protect incumbents in certain industries and professions. Entry procedures or red tape vary such that entrepreneurs need 1 day to register an enterprise in one country and up to 20 weeks in another. Other barriers to entrepreneurship are predatory tax, behavior of authorities, lack of property rights, and tax disadvantage. One more thing is another barrier is shortage of funds and resources. Finding the money to start up an enterprise is a leading barrier to entrepreneurship. Without funds, any person cannot begin to organize, train, develop, and sell product. Okay, this is the most important thing. Without the fund or without the resources, you cannot even start the business. The next one is lack of entrepreneurship opportunities. So venture creation requires existing marketplace opportunities with possibilities known to the entrepreneur and favorable odds for success for entrepreneurial spirit to succeed. And one more thing is lack of entrepreneurship skills. Lack of entrepreneurial capacities also leads to failure to the entrepreneurship. Opportunities go untied until someone comes along with an eye for possibility and a can-do attitude. Some cultures may discourage entrepreneurial capacity, resulting in a low rate of new firm entrants. It is like having an oil well field without knowledgeable people to mine the wells. So entrepreneur capacity is the existence of people with entrepreneurship qualities, willingness and motivation to initiate new ventures. And one more thing is a lack of adequate entrepreneurship training. So training and education can be a robust incubator for new ventures. This includes training in technical skills, managerial skills, entrepreneurial skills, and also the entrepreneurship skills. And lack of appropriate technical and practical skills. People tend to use the skills they have acquired to pursue entrepreneurial initiative. Lacking the appropriate skills and knowledge inhibits economic development. And lack of market knowledge can also hinder the business activities. So the essence of leadership is first learning and doing before leading. Therefore, the capability to start a business is propelled by previous education and work experience. So rushing into a new market because it looks attractive and rewarding without having some experience and background in it can be fatal. So experience in a related business before startup is positively correlated to the probability of success. And next one is fear of failure. Some people are going to fear of failure. So entrepreneurs have to dedicate whether to take action so they don't miss the boat, while knowing that hasty action may cause them to sink the boat. And the one thing, so what he has to bear the risk without fearing. That is one of the main barrier of the entrepreneurship. And the aversion to risk, a psychological barrier closely related to the fear of failure is aversion to risk. Entrepreneurs must take initiative, create structure with a socio-economic mechanism, and accept risk of failure. Entrepreneurs have to be risk takers, while those who are risk averse will seek the security if an existing establishment. So these are going to have some, these are some of the points regarding the barriers of entrepreneurship, barriers to entrepreneurship. Lack of viable concept, lack of market knowledge, lack of technical skills, lack of seed capital, and lack of business know-how, complacency, lack of motivation, social stigma, time presence and distractions, legal constraints and regulations, inhibition due to patents. So all these constitutes the barriers to entrepreneurship. And what are the different types of industries? So this we already learned in the first chapter itself. So even though I'm going to repeat once again. So different types of industries which we are going to see in our country are textile industry, food processing industry, chemical industry, cement industry, steel industry, software industry, mining industry, as well as petroleum. In textile industry, the raw material which we are going to use is from plants. So where the cloth is going to prepared and the raw material used is from the animals or they can also use from the plants like cotton. From animals we can able to take the silk from the silkworms. Regarding food processing industries, we are going to have many industries like food related items like jam preparation, soft drinks, butter, cheese, like many oil, many items we can found in the food processing industry. And next one is chemical industry where you are going to see the preparation, where you are going to see the manufacturing of chemicals like acids, which the chemicals not only used in the pharmaceutics but also in the household applications, industrial applications. So all the chemicals are going to be prepared in this industry. Cement industry, which is most important thing, is the where they are going to prepare the cement. Okay, and steel industry here it is nothing but way we are going to have the raw material plus iron. Where this type of industry is a large industry because the material which you are going to use is very heavy. And software industry is related to the industry where it is going to give the solutions of the business or entity different. They are going to develop the app. They are going to give the solution for a problem which is going to rise in the present industrial world. And the next one is mining industry where it's going to collect the different mines from the oceanography and also from the underground. Like that, it is going to collect the different mines. Example is coal. It is going to collect the coal for production of electricity. Similarly, petroleum industry where it is going to deal with the petrol and some crude oil. And the next topic is our important topic that is small scale industry. So the small scale means the scale itself is going to tell it as here the production of goods and services are going to have in the small number. Small number, the small scale industries. We are going to have different types of industries. Large scale industries, medium scale industries, small scale industries, and micro scale industries. The small scale industries are labor intensive yet require little capital. They are going to require very little capital. Small scale industries comprise of small enterprises that manufacture goods or provide services with the help of smaller machines and a few workers and employees. The enterprise must fall under the guidelines set up by the Government of India. These are the ideas of small-scale industries like napkin preparation, tissues, chocolate, toothpick, water bottle, small toys, papers, pens, etc. So these industries do a one-time investment in the machinery, plants, and industries which could be on an ownership basis, hire, purchase, or lease basis. So, it is an industrial unit in which the investment is in fixed assets and plants and machinery does not exceed 1 crore is said to be a small scale industry. Such plant and machinery may be owned or obtained on lease. While calculating the investment in plant and machinery items like land, building, and some equipments required for quality control, pollution control, etc. etc. are excluded here. And the next one is okay, continue. Micro, what are the micro enterprises in which the investment, so in which the investment is made in fixed assets in plant and machinery does not exceed 10 lakhs. If the investment does not exceed 10 lakhs regarding plant and machinery, then such type of enterprise is known as micro enterprise. Then small enterprise, what is small enterprise? In which the investment in fixed assets in plant and machinery is more than 10 lakhs but not exceeds 2 crore rupees. Okay, so more than 10 lakhs, less than 2 crore. So then medium enterprises in which the investment in fixed assets like plant and machinery is more than 2 crore but does not exceed 5 crore. Whereas large scale, the investment in fixed assets like plants and machineries can be made more than 5 crores. You see here, you are going to observe the small scale industries. Here is the textile industry, sorry, not textile, garment preparation, where many people are going to use the tailoring machines to produce the cloth, or they are going to produce some some fabric materials. They are going to stitch some materials. And also this is also one of the example of small scale. See here, they are going to prepare the vehicles here. This is also considered small scale. And see here, here they are going to prepare the cardboard. It is also one type of small scale. And here he is going to do the business regarding the nuts and bolts. Like many things we are going to observe in the small scale. Other than this, you are going to have some. So let me discuss what are the features of small scale industries. So first thing is ownership. Small scale industries generally are under single ownership, so it can either be a sole proprietorship or sometimes a partnership. So ownership means here single person or more than two persons can participate in the business activities. And then management. Generally, both the management and control is with the owners only. Hence, the owner is actively involved in the day-to-day activities of the business. And then next one is labor intensive. Small scale industries dependence on technology is pretty limited also. Here we cannot, in this case, SSI, the technology is, the use of technology is limited. Hence, they tend to use labor and manpower for their production activities. Flexibility. Exercise. Small scale industries are more adaptable to their changing business environment. So in case of amendments or unexpected developments, they are flexible enough to adapt and carry on, unlike large industries. So suppose if it is a large industry, it is not flexible to change according to the environment, according to the business changing environment. So if it is small industry, then it is easy to adapt on and easy to carry on regarding which is going to come under new regulations regarding business. And next one is limited reach. Small scale industries have a restricted zone of operations, hence they can meet their local and regional demand. Then when the next point is resources utilization. They use local and readily available resources which helps the economy fully utilize natural resources with minimum wastage. So these are some of the features of the small scale industries. So for a region, in order to grab more attention for a region, from a region of population, the small scale industry is a good option. So why? Because it is going to have a less risk regarding the maintenance of the business, and also it's flexible, it is labor intensive, there is no need of technology here, and the management is also somewhat easily, and resources can be used whatever you are going to have in the nearby area. So like that, the small scale industries are very flexible and also more advantageous, and it involves somewhat less risk. Okay, once we go through this slide, and then the features of small scale industries are ownership, management, labor intensive, flexibility, limited reach, sources utilization. In the coming session, the next section, I am going to discuss what are the objectives of developing exercise and so on, regarding scope of exercise in different sectors, why we need exercise, benefits of exercise. Okay? So with this, I'm going to stop my session. Thank you, Anand.